Hi, I'm Bruce Roper. I live in Chicago, Illinois. I'm a musician, a luthier, a repairman, and I'm going to start a video series here and see what happens and try and show how to build a guitar from everything from the grassroots on up, from the bare woods on. So that's the intent. I don't know how far we'll get on this project, but we're going to give it a go here. So I hope you all are tuning in because you're interested in building a guitar. My main interest is acoustic steel string guitars, X-brace modern American style steel string guitars. So we'll focus on that for this build. I'm going to maybe try and build a couple as we go here over the next few months and video all of that and let you guys see how it works. My history is I started as a band instrument repairman back in the 70s. I had my own guitar store during the 80s, and since the early 90s I've been here in Chicago. I've done all the repair work for about the last 30 years at the Old Town School of Folk Music, which is a large and venerable operation here in Chicago. Maybe some of you know of the Old Town School of Folk Music. It's kind of got a national reputation. And so I've done on average 300 to 400 guitars a year for the last 30 years. So if you do the math and you're a fan of Malcolm Gladwell's, I've done my 10,000 guitars. I've repaired 10,000 guitars. I've strummed 10,000 guitars. So I've got 10,000 guitars worth of information in my pea brain, and little of that I'll try and unload on you people, you kids, but for the most part it's going to be a fairly straightforward process, and we'll see what happens, see if it works, see if you can build a guitar by following along with what I do here. I've also been teaching guitar building here in Chicago since 2001, so I've had many students, and they all have been, I think, quite happy with their guitars and with the class. So again, I hope to impart that stuff to you all as we go here. As far as philosophy, I call myself an agnostic builder. I don't believe in anything, and I believe in it all. I'm always confounded by the fact that you'll pick up one guitar and you think, well, this shouldn't work, it's too heavy of a guitar or whatever, and you strum it and it sounds great. You'll pick up another one and it's really light, and everything about it's different than the one that just played and it sounded great, and this one sounds great as well. So there's no one answer. There's no right or wrong way to do this. And quite honestly, there is a secret to doing good guitar building, and the secret is this, and don't tell anybody, but the secret is just knowing how to do it. I'm going to say that again, just knowing how to do it. In other words, once you build one guitar, you've gone through the process. Then you tear that jigsaw puzzle apart again, and then you start to rebuild it. And each time you redo the puzzle, which is what this is, it's just a puzzle of putting all the parts together. Each time you do it, you get more and more familiar with it, and things start to click, and you start to understand why you're doing something, and you start to get a feel for why you do it. You also start to find your voice as a guitar builder. Just as a singer or a songwriter or an artist of any sort, you'll find a voice that's your voice as you build. I like to be whimsical. I do a lot of silly things with my guitars, and that's kind of just what I like about building. I don't build any two guitars the same. I'm not interested in having a model. They all have their own features. I'll put the braces where I want when I'm putting the braces on, and we'll talk about that as we get into that section. So I kind of make it up as I go each time, but it's not made up because I know what I'm doing. I have this understanding of how it is that this stuff should all go together. Now where it goes and how big it should be and how heavy and how thick and how tight and how this and that becomes subjective. If you move a brace a little, a quarter of an inch one way, is that going to change the sound dramatically? I don't know. There's no way I can know that. I kind of not a believer in the science that goes on, although I love that these guys spend all their time looking at the science of acoustics. But at the end of the day, you're building a hammer, you're building a tool, you're building something that you play music on, and it's gonna sound like a guitar. And quite honestly, I find that all these small hand-built guitars that come through my shop, that my students build and that I build, they all sound great because they're not on a factory assembly line. So there's something just to the fact of doing the handwork that I think just lends itself to producing a really nice sounding guitar. Also, I'm not a perfectionist. And I get a little frustrated with perfection. I don't like perfection. I don't like spending the time on perfection. I'd rather build 4 guitars, let's say, or 2 guitars or 3 guitars instead of one perfect guitar. I'm going to learn a lot more by building a bunch of guitars than I am by building one perfect guitar. I could futz around and spend a lot of time getting every little thing perfect, and if I messed it up, spending hours and hours redoing it to make it look perfect. I don't care about that. Matter of fact, I'm kind of like Brian Eno. I like mistakes. I like where mistakes take you. There are things out there in the universe that you can't understand until you kind of fall into it. Mistakes allow you to fall into those things. So again, figuring it out as you go along, learning how to do it, just knowing how to do it. That's the secret here, just knowing how to do it. And you can't do that the first time out. You can follow all the steps, but it's just going to be your first time you take the extra wheels off of your bicycle and you're going like this down the road. But then the next one, you're going to get better and better and better. With each new build, you're going to get better. I'm also not a fan of the idea of master grade tone woods. I get it that it's something that people need as a sales feature, but Bob Taylor has apparently said, I've read that he's quoted as saying, there's no empirical evidence that there's any such thing as master grade woods. Now there are woods that are more homogeneous in their look, they're tighter grained, they're this, they're that. But I like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree woods. I like the woods that got the knots in them and the dark streaks and I think that stuff adds character to it. And at the end of the day, it's the hand of the builder. It's the way you put the braces on. It's how your braces are made, how your braces are cut, how you do all that stuff to the guitar that make it be your signature guitar, your voice as a guitar builder. It's, I don't like using like the Martin templates that you see where it shows you where Martin puts her braces. I think that's boring. I want to put my braces where I want to do it. You'll also hear me say all throughout this that if it looks right, it is. And again, look at pictures of bracing patterns on guitars. Find what interests you, find what you like, and then do your variation on that. You don't have to do, there's no rules here. You don't have to do something like everybody else does it. Matter of fact, I would encourage you not to. Find your voice, find what interests you. So with that in mind, that's what we're going to that's kind of be our path, and we're going to see where that leads us in putting together a guitar, the jigsaw puzzle of a guitar. So if you're interested in this, here's the spiel, and you hear it on all the videos, and I guess this is why we're here. I wish I was rich and could do this for free, but I got to pay the rent. So you got to subscribe, you got to hit the little bell, and we'll let you know when new videos out. And I'm going to send you over to my Patreon page. As I understand it, I'm just learning all this myself, but we'll figure it out. And hopefully I can afford to do this, take time away from my repair and all the other things I do. So I'm excited about this project. I hope it makes sense, and I hope you all enjoy the build. By the way, leave comments. I'm not sure how much of that I'll be able to answer. Again, I don't know what to expect here, but I will probably from time to time answer some common questions, and if I'm unclear about something, hopefully I can straighten that out. So here we go. This will be an adventure. We're off. This is the first, and we're going to start the journey. And I'm excited. I hope this works. I hope it makes sense. I hope you guys can learn how to build, or if not learn how to build, at least put together and build your first guitar, one that you would have for the rest of your life and enjoy. It'll be a good guitar when we're done. Alrighty, thanks, and we'll see you in episode 2.
The bruise on my hands in the shape of Japan, and it comes from the inside out. It's incompetency, it's unwilling, you see, to have held when I didn't your face close to me.